starting the stream. Today it will be, of course, Rosa being a terrible mom to Maria. And with the cricket problem, we'll just bear with it because this scene is very uncomfortable anyway. You've been warned. A terrible mother means a terrible mother doing terrible mom stuff. And it, yeah. Silent, black, cold, painful. Rosa regained consciousness bit by bit. The first thing she thought was that it would have been better if she hadn't. After all, with her body in this cold and hurting, the pain grew more than her consciousness returned. It felt like she'd been sleeping on ice-cold marble in the darkness, lying facing down for a long time. This is why I always tell myself, even if it's just for a nap, I at least got to grab a sofa. I know that, but I still naively try to close my eyes for just a second, and ended up sleeping on the floor in the study chair, and it hurt my body later and made things difficult. Since I slept on such a cold and hard floor, even my bones are ice cold. Since I slept on such a hard and cold floor, half of my face pressed down against it hurts a lot. If I were to look in a mirror right now, I'm sure I'd see an embarrassing mark. I didn't want to think that rubbing it would just make the mark disappear, but I stroked the hurting side of my face anyway, trying to smooth it over. I wonder where this is. I thought it was pitch black, but it looks like it isn't. After all, I can faintly see my own body. Without a doubt, there was some source of light. But even if I looked up at the ceiling or else the sky, there was only the expanse of blackness. I couldn't see a proper light. My body alone was slightly lit, whereas everything else was sunk into darkness. That was what this world was like. It was almost as though Rosa alone had been abandoned in a forgotten world. As her mind grew clearer, she started to get nervous about why she was all alone in a lonely place like this. When she was about to call out, asking if anyone was there, she heard the patter of footsteps coming toward her. They were like light footsteps, so she thought it was probably a kid. She didn't sense anything disturbing, so she wasn't afraid. But they also were Maria's footsteps, so wondering who in the world could be in the darkness, she stared in the direction the footsteps were coming from. As she did, a faint approaching silhouette came into view. It looked like a child much younger than Maria. Who is it? I don't know this kid. But the expression on his face was like a lost child separated from his parents. As a parent with a daughter herself, Rosa felt as though her chest had been torn apart. The instant the kid muttered that infantile word, she felt pain in the half of her face that had started hurting from the cold floor, as though it had been pierced by long, thin, hard needles. Without thinking, she pressed her hand against the side of her face.
Are you alright? Does it still hurt?
Thanks, I'm fine, little guy. Where are we? It's really cold.
Come this way. You mustn't stay here.
That child took my other hand and pulled with a grim expression on his face. Rosa didn't have a clue what was going on. However, a single honest expression on the child can often tell the truth better than 100 words from an adult. She didn't know the situation, but even so, she dashed along him, still being pulled. But this is a world where nothing could be seen in the darkness except for their own forms. It didn't really feel like she was moving forwards. Even though she was running, she couldn't even feel any wind. It was as though she was still inside a nightmare, a kind of unreal sensation. So even though I ran, I couldn't maintain my sense of balance. My legs got tangled and I fell. Even in a world that didn't feel real, the pain of smashing my face against the cold, hard floor was reality itself.
Are you okay?
I'm sorry. My head hurts. When the kid said that, infantile word Uryu. Pain like being stuck with needles ran through my head again. Even though it had only happened twice, I was somehow able to understand that child's word was the cause of my pain. So I said so frankly, "I'm sorry, could you stop saying Uryu?"
Uryu.
Oh, wait a second. Didn't I tell you to stop?
Sorry.
I had the feeling that this child's apology caused a sharp pain in my forehead this time. What is this child? I know there's no malice in him, but when I'm around this child, my head hurts.
Are you okay? Let's go quickly. You mustn't stay here.
Why shouldn't I be here? Hey, where is this? Who are you? Where is your mama?
The one who made me is you, Mama.
Huh? That child stared at me with round eyes. This kid's mama is me. Who is this kid? I don't remember at all.
Did you forget about me? You made me, right?
Wait a sec, stop kidding around. Maria is my only child. That's right. Where is Maria? Where is she? Maria! I suddenly grew nervous about Maria not being here. Why am I all alone in a place like this? Where's Maria? I'm only able to be me because Maria is there for me.
Maria is here, but she's not Mario now. It's better if you don't meet with her now. That's better for your sake and Maria's as well. For Maria's sake as well, escape.
Huh? What are you saying? Where is Maria? Maria! Answer me!
Maria's gonna find you. Come this way quickly, Mama.
That child pulled on my hand again. He was probably pulling me opposite from Maria, so I stopped walking. Let go! Just who are you? What gives you the right to call me Mama?
Mama is the one who made me. Did you forget? From Maria's birthday present. You made me with your own hands. Did you forget?
You couldn't be. Maria Sakutaro.
Yes, the lion stuffed animal Mama made.
A fierce, sharp pain struck me. It came from the palm he had grasped with his hand. When I knocked his hand away without thinking and looked at my palm, a hole the size of a thumb had opened there and a deep red blood gushed out. It was a hole so big I could see through to the other side.
Uryu? Are you okay? Are you okay? What's wrong?
Sakutaro noticed my wound and panicked. As far as I could tell by looking at him, he couldn't understand why my hand had sustained a serious injury. But in my eyes, it felt like I'd been injured because he grabbed my hand, regardless of whether there was malice in him. I understood this child was something that would do harm to me. He instantly seemed eerie. Go away! You have nothing to do with me! Sakutaro was just a disgusting, crappy stuffed animal, right? I don't know you! I'm not your mama! Go away! Disappear! Slowly, the base of Sakutaro's neck was sliced in a horizontal line. It gaped open, and a pitch-black inside peeked out. No blood poured from it. Only an empty blackness peeked out. Then from the insides of the gash, cotton snow poured out. As bits of cotton scattered, he slumped over. Then all that remained was a crumpled yellow cloth, and bits of cotton that looked like sticky, crushed cotton candy. A lion stuffed animal, without a doubt. These were the remains of the Sakutaro stuffed animal I tore apart on that day while overcome by my emotions. The instant I realized that, a long, sharp shriek that could rupture an eardrum tore the world apart. like a flood from a broken dam or like a broken TV. Maria cried in a high-pitched voice. Her voice, which made the ears throb, brought up two emotions in me. One was regret. Yeah, I was overcome by my emotions and went overboard. It was a mother's desire to kneel down right away and hold Maria's head, cry with her and apologize. In actual fact, I did that right away. I held Maria's head and apologized crying, but Maria didn't stop crying. On the contrary, she rejected me, the one who had torn her closest friend apart, and pushed me away forcefully with both hands. I had been on my knees in an unnatural position, so I fell backwards easily. Maria scraped together the yellow scraps of cloth and cotton bits, buried her face in them, and cried even more. Watching that, another emotion welled up. It welled up rapidly, and then it burst. After all, she refused to make up with me, even though I apologized. There was nothing else I could do now anyway. It was all Maria's fault in the first place. So she's too busy playing with stuffed animals all the time like this. She can't make any friends, and that's why people treat her like a freak. This is a perfect opportunity to give some instructive guidance. After all, it's not like I was pampered all the time. Everything eventually breaks, is stolen, is destroyed by someone. Even I had lots of toys and treasures broken and stolen and mocked, and thrown away by my brothers and sisters and father and mother. But when I cried about that, well, I might have shed a few tears. Not once did I sob like this and trouble my parents and throw a tantrum and get mad and hit the floor and kick and make a racket. Even though I always wanted to, I thought I'd get in more trouble if I did, so I always held it back. It's because I held that back that I was able to become a wonderful adult I am now! At that moment, it felt something strange. That same feeling when you use a tool recklessly and it finally breaks so that only the base is left. But I wasn't using a tool. I'd just been repeatedly hitting Maria's head with both hands. So I looked at my hands. From my wrists onwards, my hands had broken off and splintered and disappeared. As though only that part of my arms had become ceramic. No, as though all of me from the wrists onwards had suddenly become ceramic and broken and fallen. They must have gotten filled with cracks because I hit Maria too much before falling off. After all, look, aren't both of my wrists lying smashed by my feet? There was no pain, but the shocking sight of my hands breaking off from the wrists onwards made me scream. What is this? What is this? My hands! My hands! My hands!
This way you won't be able to hit me anymore.
Ignoring my confusion, Maria spoke with an icy voice, slowly moving her hands away from her head where they had been defending against my barrage. What's happening? My hands! My hands! What did you do, Maria? What on earth? What is this? Behind Maria's back, a black silhouette had appeared. It was the silhouette of an adult. Who? If she'd used those hands for patting her daughter's head, flipping through picture books, or making warm meals, it may have been worth leaving them on.
Mama hit my head more than she patted. She never opens picture books. She doesn't even make me food. I go buy it myself. But I mustn't go to the same store more than once. Mustn't have my face remembered. Mustn't talk to the policeman. Why? Why is that? Is it my fault? Am I not allowed to have Mama pat my head, have picture books read to me, or eat dinner with Mama? Why not? Why not? I didn't do anything wrong. It isn't my fault. It's Mama's. Mama's fault. Mama wouldn't play with me, but Sakutaro did. He even read books and watched TV and ate meals with me. He was a much better friend than Mama was.
I'm not proud of it. But what am I supposed to do? I'm busy with work. Work, I tell you. You know that, right? It was unavoidable. There's nothing I can do. True enough. It was unavoidable. Unavoidable that you'd injure your daughter, tearing her part apart and making her tears run with blood. In that case, there's no avoiding the same thing happening again, right here, right now. Come, Maria. Enough of the excuses from a woman who calls herself a mother. Can you forgive her or not? Is she innocent or guilty?
I won't forgive her! Mama's guilty! I'll make Mama meet the same fate she gave to Sakutaro! Take Mama from the seam in the neck! And tear her apart so we can see the
Maria's eyes ominously flashed blue. In that instant, invisible, massive arms stuck their fingernails out and tightly grasped Rosa's entire body. As the bones all over her body made a sound like twigs being stepped on, they cracked readily and broke apart. Rosa had understood vaguely. The massive arms were probably her own arms, from the time she'd torn Sakutaro apart. From a stuffed animal's perspective, her arms certainly would have been this massive. So she could imagine what would happen next. The sharp nails struck deep into the base of her neck. She heard the skin tearing with her own ears. Then, as the two witches watched over her, Rosa's flesh was split in two, top and bottom. When Sakutaro had been torn apart, bits of cotton had flown about like snowflakes. But in Rosa's case, something like black, thick tar came out, filthily flying all over the place. There wasn't even a trace of the red blood. It was something black and filthy and thick. It was probably what a bloodless, tearless human kept inside their bodies.
This is incredible, hideous, but filthy insults. Splendidly done, Maria. Well then, is this enough for your revenge? Can you forgive your mother or not? Innocent or guilty?
I can't forgive her! Still can't forgive her! She's guilty!
When Beatrice brandished her pipe cane, gold butterflies seeped up and restored Rosa's broken flesh in an instant.
Feel the depths of your sin, which cannot be repaid by a single human life, and remember your own great sin. Come, try and remember. Remember the scale of your sin.
Hello? Is it Mama? When will you get home?
I'm sorry, I'm busy with work today, so I'm staying over.
Staying over for work again? Looks like work is tough for you again today, Mama.
Yeah, sorry. I really am busy. I'll be holed up in the company for the whole time. I can't even get a breath of outside air. Mama just can't finish her job quickly this time. Unless I give them a better design, I won't be given another job. That's how tough this work is. So, it'll just have to take some time.
Yeah, I understand. I'll be a good girl and watch over the house. So do your best at work and finish it quickly and come back, okay?
Thank you for understanding about Mama's work. I promise I'll buy a delicious cake tomorrow and take it home.
I don't need cake. Instead of taking time to go to the cake store, I'd be happier if you came home that much sooner.
Don't worry. I'll come back quickly, I promise. So let's have some delicious cake together. Let's drink delicious tea together. Let's read a new picture book together. And let's play with the wolves and sheep puzzle I bought the other day. Both of us together. I promise.
Yeah, promise. I'll be waiting. Do your best at work, Mama.
It is a lonely story, but isn't this mother and daughter love wonderful, with both looking out for the other? Do you see any problem with it, Maria? Rosa?
I kept that promise, didn't I? The next evening, didn't I do as I promised, buying a cake and returning earlier than usual?
That's not it. I knew. That evening, a pay-on-delivery package came from Mama, but there wasn't enough money in the wallet. So I called Mama's company to ask what to do. I was told only to call at special times. But I thought it'd be bad if the package was something important for Mama's work. So I called. Then I was told that Mama had the day off. I was told it'd been decided long ago that Mama would have the day off and that she'd gone far away to play. I knew. The whole time, I knew Mama was lying! But you know what? Sakutaro scolded me, saying that it wasn't true. Every day Mama was very busy with work. There was no way she abandoned Maria and play. He said that the person who told us Mama had the day off must have made some kind of mistake. That's what Sakutaro said, so I believed it. I believed it! I love Mama, love her! Of course Mama says that she loves me, loves me!
Yes, me too. I love you, Maria. Rosa let out a deep sigh. Maybe she felt the weight of her words. Then she set the receiver on the bedside phone down. The dark room had made the starry sky and the ground below the window stand out even more beautifully. On the table in front of the terrace was a very cold wine cooler. and the one she carried glass was gazing at the scene below. You didn't tell her or your daughter you were on vacation? I told her once, but she was so noisy, I decided not to tell her anymore. It's less work that way. If you were worried about your daughter, you didn't have to force yourself to put this in your schedule, right? But that way we never get our schedules to match. Didn't I say not to worry about that? The slender middle-aged man clad in a white robe gave a small sigh. Rosa reacted instantly to that slight action. Come on, let's not talk about my daughter. It'd be a waste of this precious wine. I find you're fascinating as both a woman and a human being, but for that very reason, I feel bad about taking so much of your time that strains your relationship with your daughter. Don't I always tell you not to worry about my relationship with my daughter? I try not to talk about her when I'm alone with you, okay? I wouldn't even have phoned her from here if it wasn't for that noisy drunk laughing stupidly in the lobby downstairs. Rosa, can't you reconsider taking sudden vacations like this in the future for your daughter's sake? Isn't it enough if we only meet with our schedules match? Our schedules would never match up that way, right? And I always want to be with you! That's a child's way of loving. Loving between adults should be a little more stoic. Not being able to be with you for long periods of time makes me lonely too. However, I think we can enjoy more than enough adult loving during that limited time. So you're telling me to go be with my daughter more and be a mother, not a woman? That's what you want too, right? You must also want to spend a lot of time with your daughter. I won't run away. I'm trying to say that I think it's sad for you to sacrifice your daughter so you can prioritize your time with me. Did you get back on good terms with your wife? It looks like you've had enough of being separated from her. I don't want to talk about my wife, just like you don't want to talk about your daughter. I'm sure you think a single woman with children are a pain. I never said anything of the sort before. Whenever someone finds out I have a child, they desert me. Even if I tell them not to worry about paying that child's living expenses, they all desert me. I thought you understood that about my daughter, but I guess you don't like single women with children after all. That's not what I'm saying. I haven't started to dislike you, Rosa. I'm just trying to tell you to take better care of your daughter, something I know you wish for yourself, and I don't want you to hurt yourself by lying to her. That's what I'm saying. Liar! I've just become a burden for you, right? That's not what I'm saying. No, I understand. After being abandoned so many times because of that child, I know. I can tell by your mood, yes. You're already like all those other men. You don't want a woman with a child. You don't want a divorce because that's a pain. You don't want to become the parent of a child made with another man, right? Yes, that's right. I totally get it. I once went out with a man with children, so I really get how you feel. That's why I believe I'd be able to be together with you, a person who understood about my daughter. That's right. You were always in the way. If only you didn't exist, I would have been able to grasp my happiness as a woman long ago. Because you exist, you were always in the way of my happiness. Even I didn't want you to be born. No, that's not it. I thought I might be able to build a happy family together with you. But that man disappeared right before your birth. He said he'd build a warm family with me, tricked me, and disappeared from my sight for all eternity. Only you were left. No love or memories or anything remained. Where'd that man go? He probably just turned my days with him into a warm memory and met with a new love. And this time, he might have been able to create a happy family. And as for me, I have you! I can't even look for a new love! Men can go in between women as they like and brag about it. But for a woman like me, I have you! I have you as a stone weight, and because of you, I can't search for romance, I can't find love, and I can only live alone! No, I wasn't even allowed that. I wasn't even allowed a night to drink myself drunk all alone. Who are you? Who? You wasted my life and won't even let me have a new life. Just who are you to my life? Die! Disappear! I've hated you since the time you were born! I hated you since the time you were in my womb! I've been doing my best to act like a good mother so I'd be accepted by the outside world. Yes, I've done my best! As I watch other women of my generation praise being single, sometimes playing with passion or even join with someone in love, I was stuck being both a mother and a woman! Whoever showed appreciation for my efforts! No one admired me, no one praised me! I got what I deserved? Secondhand goods? Divorcees should die? You don't want anyone who's not a virgin? I'm the one who doesn't want anything to do with you, you damn inexperienced virgin brats! I was so desperate, I probably looked like some easy woman to you. Yes, I was desperate! You probably couldn't imagine how desperate a woman like me, who's still at the age where she wants to know love was when I realized that my time was being filled with work and caring for my child, so I'd probably grow old and end my life still like this! Of course I hate your real father too, but we both share the blame for bringing about that catastrophe. I myself might have been persistent enough to make him run away, but the catastrophes after that were all your fault! When did I ever scold you for that? Never, right?! That day after one man left me, I wanted to drink myself dead drunk. It was Parents' Day at your school! I tried to hide my tear-stained eyes with heavy makeup. The way I felt when you said something off the mark, the whole class laughed at you, is something that not only you, but probably everyone in the world couldn't understand. I hate you! I loathe you! And until now, I never really loved you even once! Ah! Maria's face was still stiff. If the words had really been blades, Maria's whole body would probably be stained red with fresh blood by now. Even after gaining the power of a witch and resolving herself to take revenge for Sakutaro, she couldn't stand these curses coming out of her mother's mouth. Ugly. How ugly is a woman drowning in lust. Now you see this woman's true nature. Even I, as a witch, who has explored the depths of evil, find this most difficult to watch. Maria, now's the time to part from her. Smash the ugly lump of meat that calls herself your mother. It would be pointless for your pure soul to be bound. Oh, let me try again. I messed up. My apologies. Maria, now's the time to part from her. Smash the ugly lump of meat that calls herself your mother. It would be pointless for your pure soul to be bound by the chains between mother and daughter any longer. With your own hand, release your own soul now. You have now gained the tooth and claw to protect yourself.
Now you'll taste the pain I had to go through! Now take revenge for those days of suffering!
Aren't you the one who's been hurting me? I'm the one who wants revenge! I should have done that before you were born! If only you hadn't been born! Disappear! Ah! As Rosa howled in a way that could only be described by the word splat, her upper body was crushed, and in an instant became something similar to a wrung, blood-stained towel.
Be crushed! I can't forgive you! Can't forgive you!
Oh wait, who's saying that? I get confused, I'm sorry. What filth? That form suits you. Even though Rosa's waist and below was standing normally, just as the upper half of her body had been pinched, and that extreme contrast was bizarre. She fell over, but the instant she fell, her body was restored. You die! Come, Maria. This is the limit of your anger and sadness. Now it's the time for revenge. Time for the settlement of anger and sadness. Hit her. Spit it out. Push all the wedges driven to your chest and fling them back at her. Maria's howl was adorned with the ugly sound of flesh and bone being crushed at the same time. As Rosa, who had foully insulted Maria, lay spread eagle, a neat, perfect circle was cut out of her chest and crushed, as though her chest had been trampled by an invisible elephant. Her heart and her lungs and her ribs were trampled so mercilessly that they were completely indistinguishable. It might have symbolized the pain in Maria's heart until today. So Maria, are you satisfied now? Can you forgive your mother for her sin, or not? Innocent, or guilty?
I can't forgive her! Not yet, not yet! Mama's guilty! Guilty, guilty, guilty! Can't forgive her!
Indeed. How could this level of punishment compare to the bitter days you suffered through? Know it, Rosa. Come. Try to remember what form did you have. Revive in order to be killed. Be killed over and over so that your sins can be purified. When Beata waved her cane, the body was restored again, and and Rosa sat up, coughing violently in apparent pain. Once again, she spat out curses, rejecting Maria.
You aren't Mama! You aren't a witch tormenting me and Mama! I won't forgive you just because you look like Mama! I won't forgive you!
You're the witch, aren't you? Always reading creepy books and pretending to play with witches! You're the one who should disappear! Because of you, I'm even treated like a freak! Because of you! Because of you! If only you had been born! Don't be born! I've hated you since before you were born! Maria screamed. Was she unable to bear her anger and sadness? Or else has she been taken over by an indescribable emotion? It was surely a cry of hopelessness, and yet it was a reality that had to be accepted. Maria knew. She knew she was thought of as a burden. But even though she herself had known that, she didn't believe it. She believed that her mother loved her and had done her best to positively interpret several events that could have had her doubt this, trusting and clinging to her mother's love. But she had no one except Mama. Even so, she really did like Mama and wanted to return to those days when she believed that Mama loved her. So I howled. I'll erase all of it. I won't accept it. I'll deny it. I'll deny the mother who says these things, the black witch who makes her say them, and the part of myself that can't forgive my mother. But I can't deny it. This is reality, fact, the truth, the answer. Without any mistake, this is the absolute reality. Maria turned Rosa into a lump of meat over and over in the dark world that reflected her heart, rang the ugly sound of flesh and bone being torn apart, which would make anyone want to cover their ears. Each time Beatrice revived Rosa, she dragged her back into a world of endless torture, which could not be escaped from even by death. This was the true deepest hell of the endless which Beatrice could create. However, this world was not created by Beatrice's will, because every time Rosa turned into a lump of meat, she asked the same question to Maria.
Are you satisfied, Maria? Can your anger forgive your mother yet?
How could I forgive her? How could I forgive her? I won't forgive her! Won't forgive her! I'll teach you all my pain! Teach you much, much more! It's still not enough! Not close to enough! Since I was born! Since before I was born! I can't get rid of the anger and sadness of being neglected so long!
I hate you! I hate you! Revive over and over again. Return to a meat lump over and over again. In various ways, she crushed, smashed, beat, and tore to bits. Flying blood spatter and flesh turned the once pitch-black world into a world mixed with red and black. Maria's anger still hadn't calmed down. It was as though she was spitting out all the suppressed rage from the time of her birth until today. If that all became poison to her heart, that would be repeated murder of her mother would purify her soul. Would even this wasteful murder save her soul at least a little bit? This endless torture might have become a slight diversion from her sad, unrewarded life. After all, it seemed that she'd finally been able to regain her smile.
Learn it! You, the source of my unhappiness! Learn it! Learn that your feeling is nothing compared to my pain! What's wrong? Why'd you stop laughing? Try and laugh!
Half of her skull collapsed, eyeballs flew out, and black cranial fluid gushed. Fragments of teeth scattered.
Come on, revive! Try and laugh! Come on! Come on!
Her whole chest, along with her ribs, turned inside out, exposing her filthy innards, all of them ripped like some kind of impure creature.
Come on! Come on! Come on! Revive! Can you still laugh? Can you still laugh?
Rosa couldn't laugh anymore, but her face was laughing. It was filled with a twisted laugh and covered with a malice that rejected her unwanted daughter.
I erased that laughing voice. Next I'll erase that laughing face. I'll erase it, I'll crush it, I'll tear it to bits! Laugh! Try and laugh, Mama! What's wrong, Mama? Let's wake up and read a picture book and go take a walk! Let's say we love each other and make a promise for next Sunday! Let's go shopping! Let's go to the movies! And of course, you'll break that promise! Isn't it fun, Mama? Isn't it fun, Mama? I'm playing with Mama now, right?
That's right. You're now playing with your mother, having fun with her. Tell me how you feel right now. I don't believe it's anger or sadness or pain.
Yeah, that's right. I get it, Beatrice. I'm having a lot of fun now. I'm playing with Mama, so it's tons of fun. And even though I'm killing Mama over and over again, she can just be revived with a single bit of magic. I took care of my toys because I couldn't fix them if they broke. But if the toy could be fixed, I want to break it over and over again. But Sakutaro won't be fixed. He can't be fixed. Because Mama who made him, Mama who gave birth to him, won't acknowledge him. I wasn't acknowledged by Mama either, was I? So the broken Maria won't be fixed either. It's fun, Mama! Since it's gotten so fun, I somehow started to feel that I could forgive you. Hey, Banto, this is a very strange feeling. Why? Why am I starting to feel like I can forgive Mama?
The enlightened state is only reached by witches who have gained the power to control life and death at will. You can kill at any time. You can revive her if needed. If that's a pain, then it's all right to kill her again. Once you've learned that you can do this at any time by simply snapping your fingers, all nonsense spoken in the world of humans becomes a chirping of insects that isn't even worth listening to. You didn't even begin to think about forgiving your mother because your eyes were open to your mother's love. It was because now you stand at the entrance to the world true of
Let's try again. I messed up.
You didn't even begin to think about forgiving your mother because your eyes were open to your mother's love. It was because now you stand at the entrance to the world of true witches. Welcome, Maria, to profound and sweet world of witches.
I've done it! Maria's no longer Maria! I may still be an apprentice, but I surpassed the human world! I'm now the apprentice witch of origins, Maria! There's nothing to frustrate me, nothing to make me sad! Mama, I'll forgive you. I'm sure I can forgive you. I think I'll be able to forgive you just by doing a bit more. After all, I'm a witch.
I don't feel like doing the rest, okay? Maria would probably forgive her mother eventually, after brutally murdering her countless times, graciously. Whoa, that last thunder was loud. It must have been pretty close, right? Looks like it. No matter how old you get, thunder still makes you jump. Balor was looking at a dark night through the crack in the curtains. Every once in a while, a pale white lightning bolt would shine, and he seemed to be enjoying it. Oh! Look, you were so noisy you woke Maria up. Sorry, Maria. Sorry Balor's so freaking loud. What the hell, so it's my fault? Sorry, Maria. It's okay to go back to sleep. Good night. Maria was a bit hazy with drowsy eyes. She was probably half asleep and couldn't think straight.
That's okay. I won't sleep.
Now go ahead and sleep. You're still half asleep, aren't you?
I'm not half asleep! Ah!
Come on, you're totally half asleep, aren't you? Sleep, sleep.
I'm not half asleep! Not half asleep!
Quit it, stupid Balor. Sheesh, what are you thinking? Any kid who's just woken up into a bad mood.
I'm not half asleep! Not half asleep!
I understand, Maria. You aren't half asleep, so calm down.
Not half asleep! Not half asleep!
Maybe it was because of her delicate mental state after waking up, but Maria suddenly threw a tantrum. Balor had only been trying to tease her a bit, so he was confused by this extreme overreaction. George held her head, trying to calm her down, but Maria's tantrum wasn't going to be quelled so easily. Balor and Jessica were trying to push the blame onto each other, saying, "It's your fault. It's your fault, too." Hey, be quiet, you two. Jessica, there's still some hot water in the pot, right? Could you make some tea for her? Did you calm down, Maria? It looked like her tantrum was dying down bit by bit, but she still glared at Balor, who made fun of her with sharp eyes. Balor was just kidding around. He doesn't really think you're half asleep, so calm down, okay? George noticed. Maria was staring at Balor with incredible eyes. And, despite having just displayed all that emotion, she laughed in a small voice. Instead of a laugh, it seemed like she was muttering while thinking about or else counting each... as though each time she was saying something brutal would happen over and over. George felt something creepy for just an instant, but he couldn't spot the madness that peeked out of the depths of the girl's eyes for just a moment. After a short period stunned silence on George's part, Maria stopped her bizarre quiet laugh and pushed George's arm aside, as though telling him he can let go.
I'll forgive him.
Really? You're such a good girl, Maria. Balor, Maria forgave you. Make up. Yeah, sorry for teasing you. Forgive me. Hey, Maria, let's make some cafe au lait as a sign that you've made up. I'll put in lots of sugar so it'll be sweet.
I don't need it, but I'll forgive you. Because I'm a witch.
One more time, Maria laughed in a creepy, quiet voice. But it was only for a very short time, so Balor and Jessica didn't think much of it. They decided to think that it probably only looked that way when the lightning lit her cheek with a pale white light for an instant. At the time, they could hear the sound of loud footsteps coming from the hall. It was already about 10:30 late at night. Late at night is usually a time when you aren't supposed to be disturbed. Hearing footsteps like that at this time was far from calming. Okay. Let me give my thoughts. So, I kind of sympathize with Rosa only a little bit. I understand that it's tough for her for a certain standpoint. Yeah. And it sucks that a lot of people, they, like, I get it, but yeah, taking it out on Maria like that or something, that's why I say that I think, like, if somebody was like, hey, it's like, you know, it's like, you can take your kid with you, too, or something, and, like, it, and not, like, thinking it's, like, awkward or something, or just try to, like, hang out with them as a person, or something like that. Like, because I think with what Rosa is thinking is just, like, it's important that the guy also likes the child and her. Okay? Like, that's the thing. And, yeah, I mean, that's tough. Of course I sympathize with Maria much more. Even if it sounded like I'm supposed to read it in a certain way. And I don't know if that guy was being shitty, honestly. I can't tell. Because he's like, if he's so worried, then why doesn't he suggest like a time that they could just hang out with Maria? Like, if he's so worried, then why let this 9-year-old girl continually get neglected by her mom and not offer to spend time with the daughter? You know? Because if you're gonna be with another woman, you have to learn about their other people that they love in their life. Like, would you want to be around someone who couldn't stand your friends or your family? I mean, yeah, that's kind of red flaggy. Like, it sucks that, like, Rosa doesn't have people. Like, she doesn't have anyone that could care about her so that she could make herself better. But, like, it still ultimately falls upon her, too. But, I mean, still, like, doing things by yourself like that, it's just like, yeah, she deserves some compassion, but it's not like her daughter can understand that and give that to her. And it's not like Maria deserves that treatment from her mom either. It's a shitty situation for both of them. Oof. I mean, I don't think Rosa should be her mom either. I mean, it's possible to fix, though. Hey. Like, compared to Teppei and Sadako and Rosa and Maria in Higurashi Gosotsu, yeah, I would prefer Rosa Maria anytime. Because last time I checked, there was this wet towel tip that I found completely creepy from Teppei, and I don't really believe that he should be around Sadako because, like, that was never properly addressed. I don't really think that's a thing that should be a thing. Anyway, that's for the people who've read Higurashi, that seen everything and stuff. Anyway, then along with a clearly ominous knock that repeated fiercely, they could hear Goda and Kumasawa's voices that clearly told them that this was an abnormal situation. Oh, and I'm sorry if I mentioned that, if that was kind of spoiler territory, but I think it's just kind of important to address when it comes to certain things. But it's not like heavily spoilery because it's not like the main goal thing. So, yeah, I'm sorry if that was like, whoa, hey, you shouldn't have told me that detail. But whatever. Children, are you there? Are you there? It's Goda! It's Kumasawa. Is everyone okay? What has happened? What has happened? When George opened the door, the two of them tumbled in sopping wet. It looked like they dashed here from the mansion without an umbrella. What's wrong, you two? Did something happen? It was the master and Kraus and everyone. I love this song. I love it whenever the bunnies are summoned. They have such a cool theme song. It was a pitch black room. There were no windows, and the weak light bulb one could barely just make out the state of things around them. It appeared to be an old, forgotten underground storage room with some kind of dusty furniture haphazardly thrown into it. Hold on, I want to cook. Okay. Cookie break. However, even with just a little light, one could at least make out it probably wasn't a storage room. After all, the room was sealed off with iron bars. Where is this? I don't know. Could this be underneath the mansion? Has there always been a room like this directly underneath the dining hall? They had been dropped into what appeared to be a pit, falling into this room. Therefore, it was natural to assume this room was directly under the dining hall. However, not even Kraus could bring himself to believe that they were pitfalls rigged in his beloved dining hall, where he had enjoyed his meals for years, and that this dungeon-like room lay directly beneath it. But the ceiling above was of some crude stone craftsmanship, and they couldn't understand how they could have fallen from somewhere up there. No, all 5 people who had been dropped here thought the same thing. Although they had the sensation of falling into a pit, there was no way there could be pitfalls in the dining room, nor could this dungeon-like place be directly under it. But the truth was that they had actually fallen into this place that they were locked in, so they were confused. It is lucky that no one was hurt after falling from such a height. Shano, Kano, did either of you two know about this room? No, we did not know of this room either. Really?
Really, we really don't know anything about a room like this.
Despite their age, Kiri apparently wouldn't have found it odd if they, as servants allowed to wear the one-winged eagle, might know the mansion's secret tricks. There was a long silence, as if Kraus was evaluating their answer. No, it's probably true that you don't know. After all, this is the clean freak Shannon we're talking about. If she knew about this room, she'd probably scrub this place until it was sparkling. The filth of this room is proof that you too don't know of it. More importantly, I think we should worry about what to do next. Exactly. We need to call the police, or rather, administer first aid as soon as possible. Nanjo's words were hollow. Obviously, 6 people had been killed in the dining hall. Everyone had seen the exact moment they'd been killed. And since half their heads had been destroyed, anyone could tell their deaths had been instant with just a single glance. Everyone understood first aid no longer held any meaning. Thank you, Dr. Nanjo. We already understand our partners are no longer alive. Thanks for trying to console us by mentioning first aid. Natsuhi. Once again, a gloomy silence dominated the atmosphere. I agree, it should have been you. But then again, we would lose out on a badass scene, so I'll forgive you this once. Kraus shook his head harshly over and over, and for the time being, decided to forget the pain of losing his life and to dedicate himself to figuring out where they were. Everyone listen to me. Father is hopeless now. We've passed the point of searching for a reason or explanation that can be expressed in words. Nobody answered. Without any kind of expression or mercy, 6 people had been killed in an instant, and Kinzo had been even so bold as to proclaim that we'd become sacrifices for a ceremony involving 13 murders. Since we've been locked up in this place, we too will probably become the ceremony's next sacrifices soon. Around this time, our eyes became used to the darkness, and, well, bit by bit, we were able to understand more about the dungeon's interior. What we thought was furniture haphazardly left in the dungeon turned out not to be furniture at all. They were things like small cages to lock people in, restraints or else torture racks. At any rate, it was obvious it was eerier than a mere jail cell. Since the objects were rusted together and coated in thick dust, there was no doubt that they had been forgotten. Maybe you could even call these things Kinzo's sealed and forgotten madness. However, we've been locked away in this room. Those objects weren't exactly comforting to people who were locked up, hoping to be released without harm. At any rate, let's get out of here. We've lost loved ones and friends and would like to spend some time shedding tears. But more than that, I'm worried about the children.
I wonder if the children are safe.
All we can do is pray. Come to think of it, Kumasawa and Goda aren't here.
Perhaps they were able to get away safely.
You never know. It would be a relief if they were able to meet up with the children. When the going gets tough, Goda is reliable and Kumasawa is knowledgeable and calm. I'm sure they'll be able to help the children. Oh wait, is that Nanjo? When the going gets tough, Goda is reliable and Kumasawa is knowledgeable and calm. I'm sure they'll be able to help the children. Ha 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 ha! Yes, that certainly would be comforting. Shannon and Kraus smiled bitterly a little. But they quickly realized how improper that was and stopped clearing their throats. I'm sorry. We can't be optimistic, Nissan. There's a chance they've already been attacked after we were... I agree. What Father carried out in the dining hall was the 6 murders of the first twilight from the witch's epitaph, right? Then the second twilight is to tear apart the 2 who are close. We can't deny the possibility that Goda and Kumasawa may have been killed after escaping together. We can't cling to the optimistic idea they must have gone to the guest house and are protecting the children. Kirie coldly analyzed the worst-case scenario. For her, it was heartbreaking to have lost her beloved husband. But right now, the most important thing was protecting that husband's son, along with the other children from becoming the insane family head sacrifices. I don't know, I kind of like her dynamic with Kraus, even though she's like dangerously smart. She could probably get him to listen to her. Maybe. She overcame her sadness with the parental urge to protect children from sorrow. It seems that both Kirie and Kraus were strong enough to forget about their grief, if only for the time being. They would let their tears flow later. In order to protect the children, they had to act. Anyway, let's get out of here. It seems to be a rather old cell. Couldn't we break the bars or something? Let's try searching the entire room for some way to escape. I wonder if there are any torture tools lying around all these torture cages. They might be useful as weapons or to break the bars. Nah, I hate to break it to you, this isn't the underground Saigoden. Kirie pulled a lighter from her pocket. She herself didn't smoke, but she kept one tucked away in her pocket to light Rudolph's cigarettes. It was an extremely valuable source of light for searching this dim dungeon. Shannon, help Kirie search the room. Canon, you help me check out the bars. This is a very old cell. The bars could be loose. What should I help with? Being old. Please just keep your strength. Father will probably come soon. You're the only one whose words will reach him. In a way, you might be holding our lives in your hands. My words will no longer reach him, I think. I'm sorry, but I don't believe I will be of any use. Then lend us your expertise as a doctor. I wonder if there exists a drug that can make people instantly faint. A drug that makes people instantly faint? What are you talking about? We believe we fell through a pit and landed in this dungeon. In that panic-stricken moment, that is what we believed happened. But I measured the breadth of this room and came to a realization. This dungeon can't be underneath the dining hall.
Why do you say that?
You're an idiot, Nason. Compared to the dining hall, this dungeon is too cramped. Exactly. The first person to fall was Kraus. The second was myself. When you fell into this room, did you move from that spot, Kraus? It's embarrassing to say, but the landing hurt, and I lay there groaning in pain. Immediately after that, Kirie came crashing down next to me. The distance between where we were standing and the places where we landed is clearly off. So certainly, when you put it that way, I was next to the fall, so I remember fairly well where you two were standing. The distance between you two and the dining hall might have been greater than this entire room. We fell into a pit and directly dropped down here. It's not like we fell into multiple interlocking pipes that were collecting here. The fall was instant, wasn't it? I don't remember rolling around in some elaborate water pipe system. True, we can't explain it with a pitfall. What a strange tale. What does that have to do with a drug that makes people instantly faint, like what Kirie was talking about? Kirie is probably thinking there were no pitfalls in the dining hall, right? But in reality, we did fall. More accurately, we fell as though we fell into the pits. That was only natural. After all, we experienced something that couldn't be described any other way. I see. In other words, this is what you want to say. We did not fall into the pits. We were attacked with something like a blow dart, for example, and lost consciousness instantly. It could be that we just remember the instant we fell to the floor as though it were falling through a pit. I see. That's a much more persuasive argument than there being numerous pitfall traps in the dining hall that we never noticed, even after decades of eating there. Nason, do you have a watch? Okay, give me a moment. I have to do something. Meow. Meow, meow, meow. I'm doing whatever I want. Give me a bit. Nason, do you have a watch?
Huh? Yes. I have a pocket watch. It's about 22:40.
Yes, my watch says the same. In short, it's only been about more than 10 minutes since that uproar in the dining hall at most. My watch has the same time. That much is too short a time to knock us out and carry us somewhere. Judging only from the time, it's reasonable to assume we did fall through the hole leading directly underneath the dining hall. They could have tampered with the watch hands as much as they wanted. While we were passed out, they may have wound everyone's watches back. We're incapable of proving that this possibility doesn't exist. Whether it was a pitfall or a drug that induces fainting, it does not change the fact that we need to be on guard. Well then, Dr. Nanjo, is there a drug that can do that? Well, it's the same as your reasoning, Kyrie. I cannot prove that there isn't a drug with that effect that I don't know about. As they say, you can never be too careful. Sorry, it was a useless question. I just thought that with my hypothesis, I could suggest that this dungeon might not necessarily be directly underneath the dining hall. I see. There's always a possibility that we were carried off to the hidden mansion they say Father built in the middle of the forest. If we can escape from here and go outside, then we'll know. We'll save worrying about that until after we get out. The hidden mansion, like the Luigi's hidden mansion level? I'm sorry. Exactly. I'm truly sorry. I've only been asking about and prying into useless things. No, it's quite promising. If you notice anything else, please tell us. It might become a hint to escaping from here. Rudolph was always talking about you. He said he was always surprised by your ideas and they sometimes would give him valuable hints. The fact that you're here is a blessing within a tragedy. Thank you. I heard something about Rudolph as well. He said that you usually just swagger about, but when things get serious, you overflow with a sense of responsibility and can be very dependable older brother. Ha ha ha! That's too kind. Damn it, at any rate, these iron bars won't even budge. How are things on your end, Canon? I don't know why, but I like Kraus and Kyrie's dynamic together. I don't know. No, this side is no better. Kraus and Canon tried wiggling the bars in various ways. There were a few bars that could be twisted, and a few that had enough space to rattle a little bit around in, but they couldn't be broken with human strength alone. But there was still some hope they could use some kind of lever-like tool. It was still far too early to give up yet. The children's lives were hanging in the balance. Even if there was no hope, they couldn't stop their struggle. It was better for them to act this way. If they were to stop, there's no doubt they would once again be overcome with the grief of losing their loved ones and curl up clutching their knees. How are you doing, Kyrie? Find anything? I've found some small stones that we could hold onto and hide. Something like this could probably be used as a weapon, though it would probably be impossible to whittle down those iron bars with them. How about you, Shannon?
No, nothing. This is a phone.
I doubt it's connected, but we might be able to use the cord as some sort of string-based weapon. If we break it, we could take out the metal parts. Kraus, there's a keyhole for opening the bars, right? Yes, it's a pretty large hole, quite old-fashioned. If we twist some wire into it, we might be able to pick it. We might be able to use the metal parts of the phone as a substitute for something. This phone will become our weapon. It's just like investing. Our weapon is information. Kraus and Kyrie laughed together at how they hadn't even thought of using the phone as a means of communication. What are you doing, Nason?
I just wonder if maybe the phone was working.
You dummy, Nason.
Huh? What?
At that point, Shaun let out a small surprised cry.
Kyrie! The phone, it's connected!
What did you say? It was like when people move out of an office, taking everything with them, leaving only the telephone behind. That's the feeling the phone gave off, having been left in the corner of the cell. The cord was wound to a coil, the tip of it being swallowed by the wall. Just by looking at it, there was no reason to assume that it wasn't hooked up, but to think that it actually was. Kyrie took the receiver from Shaun and pressed it to her ear. Certainly, the electric hum of the phone has a familiar sound. His phone was certainly live. What good luck! Let's contact the police! Hold on. This is too good to be true. Could it be bugged? If they were planning a trick like that, normally they would cut the telephone line. There's actually a good possibility that they overlooked this. If they notice, they might actually cut the line this time. There's nothing we could tell the police that would be problematic for us if they overheard. Surely that was true. The point of a wiretap is to overhear some important piece of information. The way things were right then, she couldn't think of a single thing that could come up in a conversation to the outside world that might be troublesome to have overheard. Kiri instantly concluded it was more likely to be a mistake or on a part of Kinzo than a trap. You do have a point. I believe you start with 0 to make calls to the extra line. Oh, it's one of those. The spinny ones. Kano, I'm going to make a phone call. So will you watch how things are out there for me? If you sense somebody coming, let me know. Yes! Kano raced off toward the iron bar, silencing his breathing, strained his ears. As everyone present watched, Kiri dialed 110. However, she pushed the hook down and redialed many times. It didn't seem to be working very well. The outside line begins with 0. 110 would be 0110 then, right? It doesn't seem to want to go through. Head it over here, I'll try to call. Cross took the receiver in Kiri's place and tested various things. But in the end, they were unable to notify the police. The phone itself was definitely live, but the circuit was apparently cut somewhere. Does this mean that they were not so naive?
So it's useless after all.
It means our enemies aren't naive either. Kiri allowed a deep sigh, leaned against the wall, and hung her head for a while. As cool thinking as she was, for a brief moment she may actually have the naive hope the phone might actually work. She sneered at herself mockingly for holding on to that naive hope for even a single moment. Let me try that again. She sneered at herself mockingly for holding on to the naive hope for even a single moment. Then she remembered just what was happening here. Truth be told, even after being shown a scene like that right before her eyes, or rather exactly because of that, she still couldn't think of a gruesome mass murder as something real. It was less that she couldn't believe it, and more that she didn't want to. Ushiro Miyakinzo killed 6 family members. He summoned strange witch-like demon-like people. Right out of thin air. It was something like magic. Began to kill people one after another. It's all just so screwed up. Even though she definitely saw it, there was no way she could accept that spectacle. There's no way that's what happened. Those were obviously father's friends or something. They just hid somewhere in the dining hall beforehand and used some tricks to appear suddenly and fool us. There's no other way to explain something as screwed up as that. But when those 6 had their heads blown apart, a golden arrow had flown around and around the room. That had truly looked like magic. Was that another thing we just saw wrong? There's no way that was magic. It was definitely some kind of setup. Since those heads were smashed, there was no doubt it was some kind of explosive. What was that? For example, a styrene toy plane they sell at candy stores painted gold, and with a powerful explosive loaded into the end of it. However, though it seemed to have been flying about at random, Kiri couldn't imagine after being fired 6 times that each had perfectly hit the victim square on the head one after another. It couldn't be that there was some computer control system for finding and hitting the targets, making some high-tech styrene plane on the same level as a guided missile, right? Would he invest such a large amount of money into developing some stupid trick like that? For that insane sideshow? Does this take us back to the old I wouldn't put it past father? A number of mysterious people appeared out of thin air. 6 people had their heads demolished by a mysterious golden flying object, and the 5 of us were locked away in a mysterious dungeon by a mysterious set of pitfalls or else put to sleep by some fainting poison dart. The family conference started a bit after 2200. It's only been a bit more than 30 minutes since then. Most likely, even though I witnessed it myself, That event took place in a much short time period, so I still can't understand it. I still can't come to grips with it. For argument's sake, even if we did get a hold of the police, it would probably be impossible for anybody to accurately explain what we saw. Even though I just saw it just now, my brain's fried. I have no confidence in what I saw myself. Kyria tried her hardest to cheer herself out of the overwhelming confusion, just to hold her sanity. Damn it, what's going on here? Damn it, damn it! Kraus started to become desperate, hitting the hook several times and resetting the dial. Kraus had also been feigning composure, but was unable to hide his panic. The more he retried to redial, the more the pretense of serenity peeled away. I don't know what's going on anymore. Kyria couldn't help but pray the events had just occurred were just a dream. At the time, the look on Kraus's face changed. Oh! I got through! It's ringing! Really, Kraus? I see. How shallow, old man. Since we can't contact the police, the external line was probably cut, but he failed to sever the internal line. The internal line. Kraus, where'd you call? The guest house. I'm calling the room where Jessica and the rest are staying. Ah! Hello? It's me! You're... Goda? Is Jessica there? Is she safe? Kraus! I'm so glad you're safe, yes! Lady Jessica and the other children are here as well, safe and unharmed. Dad! Is it Dad? I'm so glad you're okay! Is Mom okay? Is she there? Kraus choked on his words. Kraus had clearly seen Natsuhi's head crush and seen her killed right before his eyes. Eventually, he was going to have to tell that to Jessica. However, Kraus began to fret over whether he should tell her or not now and lost his words. But even that wasn't an answer under these circumstances. I don't know about your mother. Let's pray for her safety. For now, I'm just glad you're safe. Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry for asking. Jessica's voice was filled with tears. Kraus was certain now. Jessica and the rest had heard everything start to finish after meeting up with Goda and Kumasawa at the guest house. When they learned that 6 people had been killed, they must have been anxious to rush over to the dining hall. Luckily, he had been able to call before they stormed off toward the mansion. Kraus believed that this was a good timing during such a tragedy. We have Kyria and Dr. Nanjo as well as Shadow and Kano here. We've been locked in a place that's like a dungeon, but don't worry. We'll figure something out. A dungeon? Where? We'll come and save you! Unfortunately, we can't figure out where this is either. We think it may be under the dining hall, but that might not be true. Anyway, Jessica, you must stay where you are. You've heard about what happened from Goda and Kumasawa, yes? Yeah, Grandfather... Everyone. Grandfather isn't the same state of mind right now. If you encounter him, you will be in danger. You might be killed. You mustn't even think about trying to come and save us. We'll take care of ourselves. Then what should we do? Damn you, Grandfather! How dare you do that to Mom and the rest! I'm gonna kill that undying bastard! Jessica, if you talk like that, you'll sadden your mother. Those aren't the words of a lady. Anyway, put your own safety first. Lock all the guest house doors, but you mustn't overestimate how safe that will make you. The large window in the first floor lounge might get broken. Stay in your room and use a bed to make a barricade. There's a toilet and fridge in there too, right? You should be able to stay holed up until tomorrow morning. Listen up. I'll say it again. Don't think of doing anything violent. Don't even think about trying to take revenge for Mom. Only think of hiding, of getting through this without provoking our enemies. Yeah, I understand, Dad. After that, Goda took the phone and was firmly told to supervise the kids as well as an adult. Goda, with his face covered in sweat, repeatedly replied, yes sir, in an excessively tense voice. From there, Kyria took the receiver and spoke with Balor, and when Shadow and Kano got their turns, George and Jessica answered. Following that, Parananja and Kumasawa picked up as well, so all the members of both sides took the receiver in turn, confirming that everyone was safe for now, even if their location was unknown, and encouraging each other, coming to an understanding of the current situation for both sides. They wanted to talk forever, but now was not the time to chat. Kraus explained that they would be hanging out for now, and those in the guest house consented. If anything happens, we'll call. Wait by the phone so you can pick it up quickly. Again, be careful. You mustn't do anything rash. Yeah, I understand. As long as you and Canon and the others are okay, then that's good enough for me. We'll do our best. Stay safe. Yes, of course. Well, then I'm hanging up for now. Be on your guard. And with that, the phone call ended. Goda and the rest of the men quickly descended the first floor, closed the shutters, and secured the sturdy locks on the doors. However, just as Kraus had worried, there was nothing that could be done about the beautiful wide window on the first floor lounge. If someone broke that, it'd be easy to get inside. It wouldn't be hard for someone like Kinzo, who hadn't hesitated at committing murder, to invade the first floor. It's likely that Grandfather and his followers will be armed. Locking ourselves in our room is our best bet, and moreover, our only method of performing a barricade. It's painful that we have no choice but to hole up in the sealed room, but if our enemies are carrying guns, that's the only method we have left to us. The Mercer has a collection of working guns. That's right, guns. That was a gun. If so, it must have been a horribly powerful gun. We can't contend with that at all. It takes a lot of force to smash someone's head open, right? So it might be a magnum bullet or something like that. I'd probably go through a flimsy door like it was nothing. If so, then that's even more of a reason to hole out in our room. Let's slide a bed in place and block the window too. If we do that, then no matter how many guns they've got, they shouldn't be able to raid us. Crap. All we can do is passively one-sided defense. Damn it. Dealing a fishing blow to Dad and even capturing Kyrie. That's gonna cost you, you damn geezer! Impossible! There's no way we can compete with them! Besides, it's not just Master, he has his underlings too! There might even be more of them! Just what are they? Valor was filled to the brim with the urge to get revenge for Rudolph, and to rush out there to save Kyrie. But just by looking at how terrified Goda was, there was no doubt in him that this would be reckless. It's gotta be hard on you too, right, Aniki? And yet you've gotta stay holed up in here, damn it! Of course I'm torn up about it too, but it's not like I can remain calm with both my parents murdered. But specifically because of that, I have to remain calm. Do you think our dead parents would want us to die in vain? There's no way they would! They'd want to, at least for their children to escape. So, I will survive. And I'll report this to the police and uncover everything. I'll leave my enemies to the courts. That's my revenge. There's no way our parents would want us to die taking revenge for them. Right? You're right. It's just as you say. Damn it, you old bastard. What's this about a ceremony? If we're supposed to be sacrifices or something like that, then we'll escape no matter what it takes, ruining this precious ritual of yours. That's right. Besides, you still have Kyrie, Battler. And I still have Shannon. Anyway, let's be cautious and wait for our chance. Any careless actions on our part might end up just causing harm to those who have been captured. Hostages, huh? But Grandfather captured them so he could use them as sacrifices, right? If we don't go and save them, then are we just waiting for them to get killed? We don't even know where this dungeon they're being held in is. Shadow and Count didn't know about it, and of course Goda and Kumasawa didn't know either. The possibility that they're in a secret location that only Grandfather knows of is incredibly high. Under those circumstances, aimlessly wandering around would be practically a death wish. I understand, but still, damn it, are you saying that the only thing we can do is stay confined here until something happens? Battler, I understand how you feel, but let's put safety first. From what Kraus said, they seem to have been a fairly old cell. They might have been able to break the bars somehow. The wise choice of action now is to believe in them and wait. Grandfather has a number of subordinates, and they're all armed, right? Yes, he does, and they're probably all armed. Goda had been able to say that Kinzo had comrades with him, but he hadn't been able to mention that they were mostly young women, like witches, who had used strange magic to murder. If he had said that, it would only have cast doubt on his sanity. Not only that he himself couldn't understand what he had seen and was doubting his own sanity. But regardless of sex or appearance, regardless of whether it was done with magic or a gun, the fact that those girls had followed Kinzo's orders and killed 6 people in an instant was an unshakable truth. If that group came to attack the guest house as well, what would happen? Just closing the doors and windows like this was surely meaningless. Koda and Kumasawa, the only thing left for those two who had witnessed the massacre in the dining hall, was to clear their heads without knowing how to interpret what they've seen.
Kumasawa, are you okay? Want some tea?
Thank you very much, thank you. I'm sorry, but I may be left with my thoughts for a while. Maria tried to be nice, but it seemed that Kumasawa still hadn't been able to clear away her confusion. Maria, thanks for being so considerate. Let's let Kumasawa rest for now.
Ah!
Jessica was also worried about the shock of those two might have received after witnessing such a tragedy. For a while, the students couldn't even come close to the unbelievable scene that Kumasawa had witnessed. Nevertheless, with her mother murdered and her father being captured, it wasn't as though Jessica could stay calm either. She sealed her anxiety and sadness with using her anger toward Kinzo and was walking irritatedly around the room. Kumasawa, is Mom really dead? Yes. I've never seen such a horrible way to die before. Is it possible she's still alive? And that if we fix her up, we could save her? It's not possible for a person who has something like that done to their head and live. Yeah, you're right. There's no need for first aid. Once her head's smashed, usually. When Goda had come flying to the guest house, he had, overcome with agitation, told about the massacre in the dining hall without concealing anything, except for the part about witches and magic, which they themselves still couldn't believe. In other words, he hadn't even sugarcoated the cold-blooded way in which Natsuki and the others had died. It was too late now, but Kumasawa regretted the fact that they had obviously said too much. However, while lightly shaking her head with a slightly painful laugh, Jessica spoke. Actually, thanks to what you told us, I was able to stay level-headed. If you avoided mentioning the part about her head being smashed, I would have thought she might still be alive. Then I would have run off toward the mansion and met grandfather, and I might have gotten killed. That sliver of hope would have been fatal in the end. So I'm grateful. I'm truly sorry. I'm so sorry we didn't choose our words more carefully. Don't worry about that now. There's nothing we can do for Mom, but Dad's still alive. Shannon and Canon and Aunt Curie and Dr. Nanjo too. I want to save them somehow, so we shouldn't do anything unnecessary that might make things worse for them. The most helpful thing we can do right now might be to wait by the phone. They might receive a call asking them to create a version while the others escaped, or the others might discover their location and call for rescue. Jessica understood that in order to act promptly, and the time came, the only thing they could do for that time being was to wait in this room. Once they had finished inspecting the downstairs area and locking up, George, Ballard, and Goda returned. Each was holding various objects. Goda had things like drinks and canned food and crackers and other types of snacks he found in the lounge and a storage room, as well as a first aid kit. They were all consumables that would be essential during a siege. Goda had a large folding ladder and carpentry tools. Those were to seal a door from the inside just in case. If it came to it, the ladder was for escaping outside the window. Ballard had brought up objects that could be used as edged weapons or poles. In addition to the obvious kitchen knife, there was a disassembled table ladder that could be used as a club, and a pole roughly the size of a person, which he only apparently made by taking apart a hat stand. Even though the pole had no point, it should certainly be used like a spear. There was a good chance that their enemies had guns, so it was dubious whether these would be of any use, but it was still better than not having them, and if these things could give them at least a little peace of mind, they'd be useful for their calming effect. Valor would ultimately be useful for a zombie apocalypse. I don't know, I'm just kidding. Then the bed and sofa were placed against the door and barricading it. They didn't go so far as to seal it up with nails. There was still a chance that Cross and the others would escape and come to meet up with them. He'd be useful in Hinamizawa outbreak. Higurashi outbreak. They apparently set up a barricade at the top of the stairs as well. It had been set up in a way that could create a racket, so it served as a warning alarm as well. That had apparently been Balor's idea. For that reason, they turned the TV off. This way, if the first floor window were to be broken, they could hear. Once the switch had been turned, all was left was an eerie silence. The sound of violent wind and rain. Were they going to have to spend the whole night being crushed by such suspense? The boat would come tomorrow morning. However, judging by the weather report, most of tomorrow was going to be covered up in the typhoon. The boat probably wouldn't come. The typhoon was to be set to pass by the morning of the day after tomorrow. In other words, the boat would be arriving in the morning after the next, the morning of October 6th. And right now, it was late at night on October 4th. They would have to spend more than 30 hours on this island, with Kinzo turned blood-cold murderer and his weird companions prowling about. Even with the shutters closed, there would definitely be a little bit of light seeping out. It might let the enemy know that they are hiding here. Valor suggested it might be best to turn off the lights, but they had already been overwhelmed by the ghastly feeling from just turning off the TV. There wasn't anyone who directly challenged his proposal, but then again, there wasn't a single person who agreed with it.
We can't watch TV?
Yeah, sorry, but you'll have to bear with it. We can't just let the sound of the enemy breaking in slip by.
Boring.
Even though she'd been told of her mother's death, Maria alone didn't feel the approaching sense of danger. She just seemed to be upset that the TV had been turned off. Even though she's in such a bizarre situation, can she not share in our sense of danger? Is it because she's so young? To Valor, even this faintly unsettling feeling from such a young girl, Minute says that there was something very eerie about Maria. That said, we've already done all we can. Do you think you'll be able to do anything about the bars? Unfortunately, they're tougher than expected. I don't know when these were made, but there's no problem with a lifetime guarantee. These were truly built rather well. Kiri chuckled softly. They had no moves they could make, but she just calmed a little. This place is just like the capture pile of a chess game. So there is no remaining moves left to us? Not yet. It's still too early to give up. If we stop thinking, we might as well stop breathing, right? Exactly. Chess pieces in the capture pile may serve no purpose, but in shogi they can be quite significant. Just one captured pawn should be able to put pressure on the opponent. I see. But still, there's nothing that can be done about these bars. For us, maybe. But if we can figure out where this is and contact Goda, he might be able to come and save us. I see. But that would mean putting Goda in danger. And if that happens, I would also be worried about the children in the guest house alone without a full-grown adult male. When you're afraid of risks, it's all right to buy your time until the price starts to go up. However, if you're too afraid to cut your losses, you might end up with just a scrap of paper. Though in this case, that represents our lives. And our dignity as parents, right? After talking big like that during the telephone call, telling them that they should behave because we'll manage something on our own, we can't just start asking for help right away. That would be very uncool. By this point, I've long since thrown out such useless pride. Why don't we put our heads together? Where is this? Is this really underneath the dining hall? Or else is this a different place separate from our mansion? Kraus, Kiri, and Nanjo began to discuss the further. Kano was squatting by the bar, silently trying to sense anyone's presence, just as he had been ordered. Shannon came close to him. They were both squatted down together. Do you sense anyone? Yes. They haven't focused their attention in this direction, but there's someone relatively close by. Is it human? I think it's the goats. Their breathing is rather noisy. Kana's ability to sense the presence of others was several levels above that of a human. He said that their breathing was noisy, but Kraus and the rest couldn't even pick up the slightest hint of it. Therefore, if he had obediently reported it, they would have just merely doubted Kano's ears.
They got us, didn't they?
It's rare to think that they captured us without killing us.
This time Beatrice didn't make an appearance, and the master left his study. I don't have a clue what's going on.
Hey, why are they talking about this as if they remember other things? Like this time. What's with that? I know. Whatever happens or changes, it's all for that witch's fickle entertainment. In the end, nothing will change.
I wonder if we'll be able to go to the Golden Land this time.
Listen to what this is. Who knows? We have a high rate of losing. Come to think of it, it's very rare for us to survive the first twilight together. I get the feeling it's incredibly unusual for us to be able to talk together even though the ceremony has already begun.
That may be, but even if that's just for the witch's entertainment, I'll bet.
I can't think of anything other than... Oops. Hold on. I need to check the backlog again. I messed up.
Come to think of it, it's very rare for us to survive the first twilight together. I get the feeling it's incredibly unusual for us to be able to talk together like this, even though the ceremony has already begun.
That may be, but even that's just for the witch's entertainment, I'll bet. I can't think of it as anything other than her letting us live, just a little longer to ridicule us, since we usually just drop out right in the beginning.
I wonder if we'll be unable to reach the Golden Land again.
I'm sure we won't make it there. If we hold on to any foolish hope, we'll get taken advantage of again.
That's right. Last time you got taken advantage of, didn't you?
I'm an idiot. Canon make a sour look and turned his head. Shannon laughed softly and apologetically leaned toward his shoulder. But I'm glad Milady is safe. She's only escaped from the first twilight. She might just be waiting for an even crueler death later on. What about you, Nason? Aren't you glad George is safe? It'd be nice if you two could reach the Golden Land together.
Thank you. I wish the same for you and Milady as well.
I wasn't hoping for anything like that. It's just as you say. That witch is only having fun dangling prizes in front of people and watching them veiling trying to get them. I'm sure no one will be able to go to the Golden Land. If I wish to reach the Golden Land with Milady, and that person will find it funny and will certainly never let us reach that place.
You're right. Beatrice is thinking about which order of sacrifices will be the most interesting.
The whole thing about them being chosen at random is just a blatant lie. That swindling witch. All that about having any wish you're granted in the Golden Land is probably just a lie too.
That's not true. The Golden Land is a wonderful place.
Have you been there?
Only for a little bit. Though, even that was probably just a joke of Beatrice's.
What is it like there?
Well, it's a wonderful place. I can't really explain it well. It's like a world from a pleasant dream. A paradise-like place with roses blooming all over and...
Oh wait, sorry. It's Canon's line, I'm shitty at this. A paradise-like place with roses blooming all over and beautiful butterflies dancing about or something like that.
It's not a place with a tangible image like that. It's really like the inside of a dream. When you're there, it's very gentle, very peaceful.
Let's try again.
It's not a place with a tangible image like that. It's really like the inside of a dream. When you're there, it's very gentle, very peaceful, and you're allowed to sleep as long as you want, like when you wake up early on a day off, lying on a futon. Sunlight comes through the cracks in the curtains and you think you'll have to wake up soon, but when you realize it's your day off and you can go back to sleep, it's a place where you can feel like that.
I think it'd be wasted on me. Waking up on an accident, even though it's your day off, is something only you would do, Nason. So?
Well, when I was there, it was very satisfying and very calm. When I returned to this world, even though I had just been there a second ago, I couldn't remember it well. It's like when you can't remember a dream that you were just having, but I still remember that it was a very calm and quiet world.
That's it? What the heck? The Golden Land she's always bragging about isn't anything great at all. I thought it was a place where all your wishes could come true.
That's right. It's a place where all your wishes will be granted. Well, maybe that's not quite it. It might be better to say it's a place where you won't wish for anything. For example, Canon, If you were cold and wished you had a jacket, you'd be happy to be given one. But if you were given a warm room to begin with, there wouldn't be any reason to even want a jacket, right?
That's what the Wait. Sorry, I keep doing this.
That's what the Golden Land is like. There's no need to even wish for most wishes. It's a world where everything is calm. You could even say it's a place that transcends the concept that having your wishes granted will bring happiness. A world released from everything.
It sounds somewhat like a religious world.
And there, everything is equal. Anything that can think is equal. There are no humans, furniture, nor witches. There, I was equal to everyone. There was no longer any need to feel ashamed that I was furniture. It was honestly a happy world where all humans, and even witches, were equal. I can't really remember it well, but I have the feeling that when I was there, I was equal even to Beatrice, and we were good friends.
If that witch is there, it can't be much of a paradise. So, you want to go to that Golden Land with George. How strange. The Golden Land is a utopia where you can be pleased with everything, right? Wouldn't you be content even if George wasn't there?
The Golden Land is very calm, peaceful, and everything is equal. But actually, happiness alone is left out.
It isn't a happy world.
Of course, just by being peaceful, calm, and equal, it's an incredibly happy world. But I guess you could say that it's a world of zero, where you're released from all negative worries. The human world is filled with negative, so of course a zero world is incredibly happy, but it's still zero. What a luxurious problem to have. It's something like this. When you're nodding off on your quiet holiday morning, if the person you love the most is next to you and holding your hand, then it can become an even greater, more wonderful happiness. Something like that. Sorry your Nason is too dumb to say to be any good at analogies.
In other words, to you the greatest happiness would be reaching that world together with George.
Yes. And surely for you, it would be reaching that world together with Milady. We'll be released from our...
We'll be released from our worries in a fair world. It's like some kind of strange religion. I'm more worldly minded. I imagine a world will be given some magic medicine and we'd be reborn as humans or something more like that.
If you go, you'll understand. If Beatrice really is a fickle person, then surely someday she'll let you get a glimpse of it too. If so, you'll be able to understand my analogy.
Well, I'm not holding my breath. At any rate, it seems like game over for us this time already. I'll hope for another chance.
You're right. If we cling to any overambitious hopes, Beatrice will take advantage of us. It might be best to just stop thinking and let fate take care of us.
We can't just be simple chess pieces. No matter what we think or don't think, we can't escape from the witch's chessboard. Our role is now just to wait to see how we'll be tortured to death. For us, the dream of the Golden Land is too empty.
You're right. Sorry.
Canon shrugged his shoulders and then told Shadow to leave him alone because she was in the way of his duty, distancing himself from her. Realizing her thoughtlessness in bringing up such an inappropriate topic and instead hurting Canon, Shadow bit her lower lip and stared at the ground. Shadow wouldn't bother him anymore. She went off and crouched down in a corner by herself. At that moment, Canon perked up. It was like the ears of a cat when it reacts to a strange sound.
What's wrong?
Shh! Kraus, someone's coming. What? They ended their conversation and strained their ears. For a while they couldn't hear anything, but eventually they were able to hear the shuffling sounds of a large group of people walking. So they've come. Time to pay the piper, or perhaps this is our first and last chance. I shall talk to Kinzo. I will try somehow to find out where this place is. We're counting on you. During the last phone call, Kyrie had asked what time over the guest house was. By doing that, Kyrie had learned it was the same as her watch. She had learned their watches hadn't been set back. It wasn't just the clocks on the walls of the guest house. Several people's watches, including George and Goda's, had matched. If that was the case, then it had only been a few minutes between the time of the massacre in the dining hall and the time they'd been transported to the dungeon. Not enough time had passed for them to be knocked out and carried away. Then, were those really pitfalls, meaning that this was the area directly under the dining hall? All they could do was pray that Nanjo could find where this was. Sorry. They're coming. There's probably 4 people. The master and the 3 of those who appear in the dining hall. That's enough. You come back here as well. We'll deal with the rest. Shannon, I'm sorry, but can I have you sit by the phone? Hide it with your skirt.
Yes.
The shuffling came close, and there was the sound of a large door being opened in the hallway. The light they were apparently carrying illuminated the hall, stroking the walls with sharp, razor-like shadows. And then the light from the lantern they held illuminated the prisoners through the bars. The bar's sharp shadows divided them up lengthwise. Then there were 4 silhouettes. It was Kinzo, Renove, Regalia, and Gap. Silence, everyone. Please welcome the head of the Ushiromiya family, Lord Goldsmith. Goldsmith. It's father's pen name. It seems he always signs it when writing those bizarre grimoires. Kinzo's made English style? Shouldn't that be Gold Warehouse? What more is a warehouse than a place to keep things in? However, I give birth to gold and use my craftsmanship to further increase its worth. Don't you think Smith is much more fitting? True enough. I apologize for butting in. Kinzo, just what is going on? Where in the world is this? Oh, my friend, can't you remember? True, you may have never entered the prison, but you should remember walking through this corridor. Huh? You don't mean... Do you have an idea? But, well, it is unthinkable. Firstly, we fell through the pitfall and were locked up here only after a few minutes. Not only is the distance too great, that's physically impossible. For a human, right? Father, is this the mansion? You think the mansion had a basement like this? Kraus! Wasn't there a place whose existence you whispered of, which you followed after me several times trying to find? This is that place. No, to be correct, this is its basement. Couldn't this place be the basement of Kuadorian? A splendid observation. This is indeed the basement of Kuadorian. Kuadorian? You don't mean Father's rumored hidden mansion? It really exists. This mansion was constructed for the sole use of my beloved witch Beatrice. It truly is a shame that I cannot guide you to the above-ground sections, as it is such a beautiful and elegant mansion. How lovely, just the 2 of them alone in a mansion with a prison like this. I guess Father's tastes are a bit more than I can stomach. Kyrie, perhaps it'd be wiser to refrain from such rude comments. But I agree, if a mansion I was given had this kind of dungeon in it, that'd shake me out, even a century-long love that I'd take anything of value and run. Oh my, so you don't have an interest in this kind of thing. And here I was thinking you were head over heels for it. Of course I'd go head over heels, like if I get a collar or something for a birthday present. But only if he's hot. God. Silence! Perhaps you could use a gag more than a collar right now. Oh, you have an interest in that too. You sure aren't picky, Leah. Don't just go around shortening people's names on your own! Enough, you noisy woman! Are you telling me you'd like to be locked up in the same cell? I apologize, Master. This old body of mine would not be able to stand such a cold prison. Regalia quickly apologized, but Gap and Renove merely laughed together. It was like they thought they alone couldn't be imprisoned, or else that even if someone tried to imprison them, it would be pointless. A prison is a place which captured cannot escape. That implies a strong will and love to not let them go for a lifetime. It's not even worth speaking of love to a woman you could give up on if she ran away. A woman who makes you go so insane you don't want to let her escape to the point of binding her in chains. Because she was worthy of that. She was a love worth sacrificing my life for. I will not ask you to understand.
No one can bind me. I will not be bound. I don't want to be loved. I want to love. I feel the same as Goldsmith. That's why I understand the madness of your love.
Love and madness are two sides of the same coin, or so they say. How bothersome.
But learning where we are so easily was a big step. We'll ask the details later, but it seems you know about this place, right, Dr. Nanjo?
Yes. If that hallway is the underground passage beneath Kuadorian, if we go straight down it, it'll become a long tunnel. And if we stay on that, we should be able to return to the mansion.
Then if we could just do something about these bars, we'd be able to go home.
Father, what are you planning to do with us? As I have already declared, you will become sacrifices for the later twilights. These are conveniently 5 people here, exactly enough hostages for 5 gougings.
I see. Then it's time for us to pay the piper.
Eventually. That's not why I've come to visit you this time, so relax. Besides, I believe I've said it already. If one of my grandchildren is deemed suitable to inherit everything from me, then the ceremony will be called off. In other words, your lives will be spared.
What are you planning to do with the children?
I shall give them a test. A test to see if they're suitable to be the successor or not. If even one of them can surpass me, I will call the ceremony off.
And if there isn't anyone suitable, what are you planning on doing with the children?
There's no need to worry about that. After all, you will be sacrificed first. How could anything that happens after concern you? Entrust your fates to your own children. Your children, the embodiment of what you've born, taught, and raised. They should be the most suitable for you to entrust with your fate. Don't look so worried, Kraus. Believe in the dollar that you brag is worth 10 billion yen.
Exactly. Children are the embodiment of their parents. It's fitting that we put our fates in their hands. That applies to even you, Father Wright.
This girl has guts. What a waste on Rudolph.
Kyrie, it would be best not to gravitate him too much. Aggravate. I'm sorry.
I agree. Let's bear with it for now.
That's right. After all, we're just a fish on the chopping board. There's nothing we can do now.
Ha! Even though you can insult me with such vigor, I don't dislike that kind of woman, see? Beatrice was like that too, in the beginning.
Master, perhaps we should get back to the main topic. We've been off the track for a while now.
Ah yes, there was that. Sorry, my friend. Well then, back to the main event. For that, I've prepared a phone. Shannon, how clever of you. You don't have to hide it any longer. That's something I arranged for.
My apologies.
Shannon quickly withdrew herself and the telephone was revealed.
Kraus, call the grandchildren in the guest house. Tell them of the test and the start of my trial.
Renove motion for Kraus to pick up the receiver. And if I say no?
And why do you think you're in the position to negotiate? If you don't make the call, then the grandchildren won't even be given a chance. The Ushiromiya family will end here, and I'll sacrifice all of you right away. You'd be lucky to become sacrifices right away. Don't you think it'd be more painful to watch children get sacrificed first before your very eyes? Gap! The master is the one who decides the sacrifice order. Don't say things on your own. Leah, you just tried to shorten my name, didn't you? I did not! And I told you not to shorten other people's names on your own. Women truly are noisy. That should be him in that jail cell. No, my phone fell. Sorry, my nose is a little plugged. And if the reading is a little off, it's the world 12 years later in October 1998. That's because it is off. Oh, we're gonna see the grandfather next time. Okay. No tips. Well.